I come to you today seeking peace in the kingdom between publishers and the platforms. We're not going to find an investable strategy for the future in regulation, legislation, and trying to hamper our new technology competitors through government investigations and means like that. Neither really are we going to find a future in protectionism. Because what are we protecting? We already know that the reach business is bankrupt. Even in this world of social media, we can see that trying to be a destination is no longer going to be easy. I believe that what we have to do is seek a relationship strategy where we move past mass media, where we work on trying to bring relevance and value instead of mere reach and volume. I think we do that by seeing people as individuals and members of a community, not as a mass. Now that means we have to build new products and new services that serve people better at higher value. And I think there's a great business in that. Still unproven, I admit. But if we are more specialized, then we become more efficient. I think we'll become smaller and more efficient organizations. At the same time, if we do serve people better and get more engagement, we will have more advertising opportunities. If we know more about people, then we also will have higher value advertising opportunities. And we have other opportunities for other revenue that companies are beginning to explore around, for example, events and commerce. And finally, of course, there's the subscription revenue. And I believe there's a lot of opportunity behind membership. That, I think, is a relationship strategy for the future of our business. But what it requires is data, information about people. Not big data, small data. Just knowing people as individuals and members of communities. Now, especially in a distributed media world where our audience is off on Facebook and Snapchat and anywhere else, and where we have to follow them, we have no choice but to, how do we get that data? Well, we're going to have to collaborate with the platforms. Now, I've gone to publishers and said, you know, what we really need from the platforms is not bribery in terms of cash, is not more traffic and a bad reach strategy. What we need from the platforms is data. And publishers say back to me, oh, they'll never give it to us. And I say, well, have we asked? When I go to the platforms and say, we need more data, they tend to say, well, let's be honest, your people wouldn't know what to do with it if we gave it to them. And what I've found recently is the problem is we've been too nonspecific. We've just gone and banged our fists on the table and said, we want data, give us your data, which is about like saying, give us your money. Doesn't work very well. But I've learned that what we have to do is be far more specific in the requests that we're making of these platforms. And so I went to 3 conferences last week in Europe, kind of a road show of the future of news. In Berlin with a Springer Distributed Content Summit, brought in 25 leading brands across Europe for a very fruitful discussion. Then Bilbao for Google's Newsgeist, an unconference with 150 news executives of all stripes from around Europe. And then a Google Play event in London that also brought together executives to talk about the future of apps. And this is a very confusing time. If you look at what Google announced just a few weeks ago at its I/O conference, they have the progressive web apps you've probably seen from the Washington Post. If you haven't yet, go to washingtonpost.com/PWA on your phone and prepare to be wowed with the speed and completeness of what a web page can do. They've also announced instant apps, so you can cut up apps and put them on web pages and bring more people to our apps. These are exciting times and exciting things that happen. But how the hell do we serve people across all these platforms? How do we know more about them? Once again, we need data. So I went into these 3 conferences saying that what we have to do is get far more specific about our requests. And I'm delighted that I heard many more specific ideas, and let me outline them for you very quickly. One idea is that Google could help our publishing sites make better recommendations to users because of what Google knows, frankly, about our users and about our content. Now, that obviously brings up privacy concerns, but if Google and we came up with a framework for how to type users, that person loves video, that's a political junkie, that person likes a lot of short things in the morning, that person likes really long things, then we could use that data to make better recommendations to our own users in their own onward flow. We also, I hope, could use data like that to improve our path down the funnel to subscription and membership and conversion there. We could use it for commerce. We could use it for lots of things. But first, we have to make a very specific request to Google, and they have to say yes or no. The good news is I saw that dialogue begin in these last 3 conferences, where finally the publishers got down to earth and the platforms listened. I don't know what the answer will be, but it starts. The discussion went even further. What if we gave our subscription lists to Google and Facebook and they treated our subscribers differently? That is to say, if I subscribe to Built and I come into Google search and I search for Formula One, shouldn't I get Built content at a higher priority because I've already paid for it? That's a good thing for paywall subscribers. It's something that the platforms seem open to. And then we talked even more that if we develop this framework, we publishers can share data about our own readers among each other in an anonymized fashion that lets all of us serve our readers better and improve our businesses. And you know what? That starts to look like Taboola and Outbrain, which every publisher I know hates, but they love the checks. Could we create a less evil recirculation engine? That's the kind of discussion that occurred in these last 3 conferences, because publishers came in not seeking war, not seeking retribution, not trying to be protective of old business models that frankly do not work anymore, not trying to blame their problems on the platforms, not trying to get money out of them, which really isn't theirs to give us. It never was our money in the first place. Instead, what we have to do is seek strategic relationships that bring us mutual benefit, starting with benefiting our users. I believe, and I'm an optimist, I believe that we can have that kind of discussion, and we can move from war footing to business footing. We can move from trying to get simple sops out of the platforms that are nice to us but don't change our business, to trying to strategically change our business. And that's why I come to you today suggesting that the discussion we should have is, what do we want from Google that will benefit our users, that will benefit our businesses, that will benefit their businesses, so we can collaborate together? And then we have the same discussion with Facebook. And frankly, we play them off each other. Now is the time that they want friends in media and publishing. They recognize the value of our content, yes. They recognize the value of our authority. And let's be honest, they also don't want us to go to war with them. So I think now is the time to seek peace in the kingdom. And I hope that's a discussion that you can now have.